The traits of pure sattva are cheerfulness, the realization of one's own self, supreme peace, contentment, bliss, and steady devotion to the Atma, by which the aspirant enjoys bliss everlasting. This undifferentiated, spoken of as the compound of the three gunas, is the causal body of the soul. Profound sleep is its special state in which the functions of the mind and all its organs are suspended. Profound sleep is the cessation of all kinds of perception, in which the mind remains in a subtle seed-like form. The test of this is the universal verdict, "I did not know anything then." The body, organs, pranas, manas, egoism, etc., all modifications, the sense objects, pleasure and the rest, the gross elements such as the ether, in fact, the whole universe up to the undifferentiated, all this is the non-self. From Mahat down to the gross body, everything is the effect of Maya. These and Maya itself know thou to be the non-self, and therefore unreal like the mirage in a desert. Now I am going to tell thee of the real nature of the Supreme Self, realizing which man is freed from bondage and attains liberation. There is some absolute entity, the eternal substratum of the consciousness of egoism, the witness of the three states, and distinct from the five sheaths or coverings, which knows everything that happens in the waking state, in dream, and in profound sleep, which is aware of the presence or absence of the mind and its functions, and which is the background of the notion of egoism. This is that which itself sees all, but which no one beholds, which illumines the intellect, etc., but which they cannot illumine. This is that by which this universe is pervaded, but which nothing pervades, which shining all this shines as its reflection. This is that by whose very presence the body, the organs, mind and intellect keep to their respective spheres of action like servants, by which everything from egoism down to the body, the sense objects and pleasure, etc., is known as palpably as a jar, for it is the essence of eternal knowledge. This is the innermost self, the primeval Purush being, whose essence is the constant realization of infinite bliss, which is ever the same, yet reflecting through the different mental modifications and commanded by which the organs and pranas perform their functions. In this very body, in the mind full of sattva, in the secret chamber of the intellect, in the Akash known as the unmanifested, the Atma of charming splendor shines like the sun aloft, manifesting this universe through its own effulgence. The knower of the modifications of mind and egoism, and of the activities of the body, the organs and pranas, apparently taking their forms like the fire in a ball of iron. It neither acts nor is subject to change in the least. It is neither born nor dies. It neither grows nor decays, nor does it undergo any change, being eternal. It does not cease to exist even when this body is destroyed, like the sky in a jar after it is broken, for it is independent. The Supreme Self, different from the Prakriti and its modifications, of the essence of pure knowledge and the Absolute, directly manifests this entire gross and subtle universe in the waking and other states as the substratum of the persistent sense of egoism, and manifests itself as the witness of the buddhi, the determinative faculty. By means of a regulated mind and the purified intellect buddhi, realize directly thy own self in the body, so as to identify thyself with it. Cross the boundless ocean of samsara, whose waves are birth and death, and firmly established in Brahman as thy own essence. Be blessed. Identifying the self with this non-self, this is the bondage of man, which is due to his ignorance, and brings in its train the miseries of birth and death. It is through this that one considers this evanescent body as real, and identifying oneself with it, nourishes, bathes, and preserves it by means of agreeable sense objects, by which he becomes bound as the caterpillar by the threads of its cocoon. One who is overpowered by ignorance mistakes a thing for what it is not. It is the absence of discrimination that causes one to mistake a snake for a rope, and great dangers overtake him when he seizes it through that wrong notion. Hence, listen, my friend, it is the mistaking of transitory things as real that constitutes bondage. This wheeling power, avriti, which preponderates in ignorance, covers the self, whose glories are infinite, and which manifests itself through the power of knowledge, indivisible, eternal, and one without a second, as Rahu does the orb of the sun. When his own self, endowed with the purest splendor, is hidden from view, a man through ignorance falsely identifies himself with this body, which is the non-self, and then the great power of Rajas, called the projecting power, sorely afflicts him through the binding fetters of lust, anger, etc. The man of perverted intellect, having his self-knowledge swallowed up by the shark of utter ignorance, himself imitates the various states of the intellect buddhi, as that is its superimposed attribute, and drifts up and down in this boundless ocean of samsara, which is full of the poison of sense enjoyment, now sinking, now rising, a miserable fate indeed. As layers of clouds generated by the sun's rays cover the sun and alone appear in the sky, so egoism generated by the self covers the reality of the self and appears by itself. Just as on a cloudy day, when the sun is swallowed up by dense clouds, violent cold blasts trouble them, so when the Atma is hidden by intense ignorance, the dreadful Vikshep Shakti projecting power afflicts the foolish man with numerous griefs. It is from these two powers that man's bondage has proceeded, beguiled by which he mistakes the body for the self and wanders from body to body. Of the tree of samsara, ignorance is the seed, the identification with the body is its sprout, attachment its tender leaves, work its water, the body its trunk, the vital forces its branches, the organs its twigs, the sense objects its flowers. Various miseries due to diverse work are its fruits, and the individual soul is the bird on it. This bondage of the non-self springs from ignorance, is self-caused, and is described as without beginning and end. It subjects one to the long train of miseries such as birth, death, disease, and decrepitude. This bondage can be destroyed neither by weapons, nor by wind, nor by fire, nor by million of acts, by nothing except the wonderful sword of knowledge that comes of discrimination, sharpened by the grace of the Lord. One who is passionately devoted to the authority of the Shrutis acquires steadiness in his Swadharma, which alone conduces to the purity of his mind. The man of pure mind realizes the Supreme Self, and by this alone samsara with its root is destroyed. Covered by the five sheaths, the material one and the rest, which are the products of his own power, the self ceases to appear, like the water of a tank, by its accumulation of sedge. On the removal of that sedge, the perfectly pure water that allays the pangs of thirst and gives immediate joy appears unobstructed before the man. When all the five sheaths have been eliminated, the self of man appears pure of the essence of everlasting and unalloyed bliss, indwelling, supreme, and self-effulgent. To remove his bondage, the wise man should discriminate between the self and the non-self. By that alone he comes to know his own self as existence, knowledge, bliss absolute, and becomes happy. He indeed is free who discriminates between all sense objects and the indwelling, unattached and inactive self, as one separates a stalk of grass from its enveloping sheath, and merging everything in it, remains in a state of identity with that.